Hey guys, this is the Fight Nerd, and joining me now is a legend in professional wrestling and real wrestling as well, Mr. Gerald Brisco. Mr. Brisco, how are you today?
I'm doing great here at Times Square.
So we're here in Times Square for the Beat the Streets Wrestling Gala fundraiser, big event. Mr. Brisco, what's so important about having wrestling in high schools and schools over the world?
Well, I tell you, having wrestling in high school and the universities across the United States and across the world is so important to the young men. It teaches them so much about life, and it teaches them so much about discipline and what's going on and how to compete in life.
It's very, very, very important stuff here to have. You know, we need this kind of stuff in schools. We need to have sports as well as the arts, everything in there, so kids have something to do after school.
Exactly. You know, you can't do this forever, but when you're doing it, it really teaches you about discipline. These kids got to watch their weight. They got to make their grades. There are several things that they got to do during the course of the season that really sets them apart from the ordinary athlete.
Right now, are you a fan of mixed martial arts by any chance?
Well, of course, you know, Brock Lesnar is a good friend of mine. I brought Brock Lesnar into the WWE. I was a teammate of Jay Robinson back at Oklahoma State University, and when Jay had Brock as a student athlete there at Minnesota, he called me, told me about him and Shelton Benjamin. So I flew up and I met the two of them, and we eventually signed both of them.
Now, you mentioned Shelton Benjamin. Do you think he has a career possibly in mixed martial arts? That's something he might pursue, you think?
Well, I can't speak for Shelton, but I know Shelton Benjamin can do just about anything he wants to do. What an outstanding athlete he is. And the only thing that could catch up with him maybe might deter that road is an age factor.
That's always a big problem. Now, you mentioned, of course, Brock Lesnar, and he's had a prolific career so far in the UFC. What do you think has really attributed to his rise so quickly in the rankings?
I just think it was his wrestling background. Once again, it goes back to Brock started wrestling when he was a youth in the Dakotas and worked his way up through JC and then eventually a national championship at the University of Minnesota.
All right, now, I'm also a fan of the real pro wrestling stuff, which Mr. Brisco here is a veteran of. I want to ask you if you can give us maybe a nice little story about maybe a time you had to actually shoot on somebody in the ring and show your skills off for real.
Well, it happened when I was young. I mean, after a while, your opponents know what you're capable of doing. They know that you come from a college background, so they kind of back off from them. My brother and I, both my brother was an NCAA champion at Oklahoma State. I wrestled at Oklahoma State with Bobby Douglas, Jay Robinson, under the tutelage of Myron Roderick. But when I was young, you know, there was always somebody out there that's wanting to try you.
Anybody who we could talk about right now, and we'll make it public. How about that?
Well, you know, it was many years ago when I first started. And the one that came behind was Jerry Miller, just a journeyman type wrestler that one night in Little Rock, Arkansas, he thought he could take me, and he tried, and I was forewarned about it by the great legendary Danny Hodge, and Danny said, "Watch out, this guy, he's going to try you." And also there was another guy, and Russian. Speaking of Russians, the United States is wrestling here tonight at Times Square for Beat the Streets. Russian Volkov was his name, and he thought he could go. He was a pretty husky guy, and I was out there just relaxed, and all of a sudden he started squeezing on me, and I realized what was going on, and shot a reverse in on him, and a quarter Nelson. And okay, we can do it the easy way, or we can do it this way. Which way you want to go?
Very good, very good. Now, I also want to ask you, just recently now, the WWE has taken out the word wrestling from the company. What do you think about that? Is that a good thing or a bad thing for the sport?
Well, I think, you know, as long as we still have a ring up, as long as guys are out in the middle of that ring competing, I think it's still going to be what it is. It is an entertainment company. It's a global entertainment company. We do movies now. We do all kinds of activities in the entertainment world. We have DVDs. We have video games. We have everything. So it's an entertainment company, and that's what Vince is shooting for. But as long as we got that squared circle out in the middle of arena and people pack the arenas to come and see it, that's what we're all about. That's our main product.
All right, well, Mr. Brisco, thank you very much for your time today, and enjoy the rest of the show.
I sure will. Thank you a lot.